I mean, the Connecticut Sun, we all know that their practice right before their playoffs is cancelled because of a 2-year-old's birthday party.
You won't believe what's happening with the Connecticut Sun. One of the top teams in the WNBA is facing major issues with their practice facilities. They're sharing space that's far from ideal, and now a former player, Jonquel Jones, is speaking out. She's not happy with what's going on behind the scenes and is demanding changes. This could have a big impact on one of the most successful teams in the league. What exactly did Jones say? What's going on with the Sun's facilities? And how might this affect the team and the whole WNBA? Stick with us as we break down all the details and what they mean for the future of the team and the league.
So when I played in the Connecticut Sun, we practiced in like the recreational, like the tribal facility, because the team is owned by the tribe. And so sometimes there'll be people doing like yoga classes and
that's crazy.
and different stuff. And like we'll be on the court, like practicing on the full court, like the full
During
NBA
your
size
practice
court.
doing that?
Right, and then they'll come in and we have to like put the divider down,
hell no.
and then we'll start going on a court that was like smaller than like a high school court. Kid you not, while we're in the playoffs.
They talking about keep it down. We got a yoga class going on over here.
Yeah, and it's like you peek your head over the side and it's like 3 people over there like doing downward dog or something crazy.
Imagine this. You're a pro athlete in one of the top leagues in the world, preparing for a big playoff game. You're pumped, ready to give it your all, but instead of stepping onto a professional practice court, you're dodging yoga mats and birthday balloons. That's the reality for the Connecticut Sun, one of the WNBA's top teams. They don't even have their own practice facility. You might think, okay, that sounds bad, but how bad can it really be? Well, it's worse than you think. The Sun are sharing space with the Mahagan Tribe's recreational center. So, on any given day, these elite players might find themselves warming up next to a yoga class for seniors or a kid's soccer practice. And it only gets crazier from here.
I mean, the Connecticut Sun, we all know that their practice right before their playoffs is cancelled because of a 2-year-old's birthday party.
Get this. During a crucial playoff practice, the Connecticut Sun had to cut their session short for a 2-year-old's birthday party. Yes, you heard that right. Professional athletes at the peak of their careers were told to wrap up so little Timmy could have his cake-cutting ceremony. This is seriously affecting the team and the league. Jonquel Jones, a star who recently left the Sun, just dropped a bombshell. She revealed that players are actually hoping they don't get drafted by the Sun because of these conditions. Let that sink in. Young athletes dreaming of a WNBA career are actively wishing they don't end up on one of the league's top teams. That's how bad things have gotten.
No one wants to get drafted into a league and it'd be a step down from college. You know, like in college, you could check into a facility at 2:00 in the morning if you wanted to go get shot.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, no one wants to be able to get to the league and not be able to do that. If you have a bad game, you can't even get into the facility because they got a concert going on or something crazy like
Yoga
that.
class.
Shit closed at 9 p.m.
Yoga or a yoga class.
You're probably asking how a professional sports team can function like this. And that's the million-dollar question. Despite all these challenges, the Connecticut Sun have somehow managed to stay competitive. But for how long can that last? Players are speaking out, and the pressure is building on the team's ownership to make some serious changes.
If you look at the franchises, other than like the Sky, I'll believe it when I see it with the Sky. That practice facility could take 5 years, and the Sky have been a disaster for the longest time. And then the Sparks are a disaster as well. But it's like you're seeing it with the Mercury, how good their facilities are, how good the Valkyries is, how good the Aces, the Liberty, the Fevers is fine. Like Fever don't have these unbelievable facilities, but they're fine. And then you look at how bad some teams like the Sun are run.
If you think the practice facility situation is bad, just wait until you hear what's happening off the court. The financial realities for these players are just as shocking as their practice conditions. But let's take a moment to process this. One of the WNBA's top teams is essentially playing musical chairs with yoga classes and birthday parties. It sounds almost unbelievable, but it's the reality for the Connecticut Sun. Now, let's talk money, because in pro sports, cash changes everything. Jonquel Jones just dropped a financial truth bomb that'll leave you stunned. When she moved from the Sun to the Liberty, her bank account saw a huge difference, and she's been open about it.
I do think that we need to allow or to try to make room for more opportunities for players to be able to make money off the court and make money outside of basketball. But, not to speak poorly of the Connecticut Sun, I'm just speaking my truth, but it's such a difference being in New York and being in such a huge city. Like, even last year, the amount of money that I made off the court was probably, in 1 year, was probably more than I made in my entire WNBA career.
Wow.
After I moved from Connecticut to New York.
Can you believe it? We're talking about a superstar player, and just by switching teams, her income went through the roof. Jonquel Jones pointed out that while her WNBA salary might be modest, playing in New York opens up the door for millions in endorsements. That's a massive difference, and it's not just about Jones. This gap in marketability between players in different cities is affecting the whole league.
And that's the thing where it's like, you got, especially for the WNBA money. In the NBA, people talk about big markets. But like in the WNBA, when your salary is $200K a year, but you could potentially make literal millions in endorsements. You can make 5 times your salary in endorsements by playing in a big market. It's why, like, for example, a lot of people talk about, oh, Lexi Hull, they're going to have to pay Lexi Hull. Lexi Hull could take a $0 salary from the Indiana Fever, and she would still make more money if she stayed in Indiana than if she went somewhere else, even though she's obviously not going to take a $0 salary. And the reality is like, Indiana, because just like the Cleveland's a big market with LeBron's there, Indiana's a big market because Caitlin Clark is there.
The Suns' lack of investment is really hurting their ability to attract top talent and stay competitive. Think about it. If you're a young player entering the league, would you rather join a team with top-tier facilities and big earning potential, or one where you might have to cut practice short for a toddler's birthday party? Jonquel Jones made it clear the Sun need to invest in better facilities and player opportunities, or they'll quickly fall behind. It's about staying relevant in a league that's evolving fast. But here's the kicker. The Connecticut Sun's ownership, the Mohegan Tribe, has said they don't plan to build a dedicated practice facility. They have one of the best teams in the league, and yet they're not even willing to provide them with a proper place to practice.
But you look at the rest of the W, like New York are good. Golden State's going to be, like Golden State within 5 years is going to be competitive. The problem is that the likes of the Atlanta Dream are going to struggle probably. The likes of the Connecticut Sun are really going to struggle. And there's a lot of big markets that want teams. So I can maybe see within the next 10 years, to be fair, no, that's Sun, the tribe is just going to, this Mohegan Tribe are just going to run it into the ground.
So, what does this all mean for the Sun? It's not looking great. They're falling behind in a league where other teams are making big strides. Take the New York Liberty, for example. They've been investing heavily in their facilities and team setup, and it's paying off. They're attracting star players and getting strong results on the court.
If you know the story of the New York Liberty, I think 4 years ago they were playing in Westchester and in like a auditorium where they do like theater and different stuff like that. And then they bought the team, moved them to Brooklyn, invested in the team, and now we're champions. And we're, I'm on platforms like this speaking to you guys because they decided to invest.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Despite all the financial challenges, the Suns' performance on the court tells a completely different story. How are they managing to stay competitive with so many obstacles? Their coaches have had to get creative, focusing on player development, making the most of practice time in shared spaces, and building a strong team culture to make up for the lack of resources. So, while the Sun may be struggling off the court, they're still shining on it. But how long can they keep this up? And what does this mean for the future of the WNBA? Well, that's a whole other story. The Connecticut Sun are dominating the league, overcoming massive challenges as if they're playing with one hand tied behind their back. Their secret? Great coaching from Kurt Miller and Stephanie White.
We gotta get on the floor and get them! Our first and second level of effort's really good! To finish this game, we need the third and fourth, okay?
Despite all these less than ideal conditions, the Sun are turning them into championship caliber performances. It's as if they have a secret playbook that transforms obstacles into opportunities.
Like, this just sums it up. And like the fact that the Sun have been so good as a organization or as a team, like their on the court product has been so good, is a testament to how good the Kurt Miller and how good Stephanie White have been as coach.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The Sun's success on the court might be hiding a bigger issue. Yes, they're winning games now, but how long can they keep this up? It's like trying to run a marathon in flip-flops. You can manage for a while, but eventually it's going to catch up with you. Experts are starting to raise some tough questions. How long can the Sun keep performing at this level without proper investment? It's like walking a tightrope without a safety net. One bad season, and everything could come crashing down.
I can maybe see within the next 10 years, to be fair, no, that's the tribe is just gonna, this Mohegan Tribe are just going to run it into the ground.
Let's not forget about the players. They're the ones giving it their all every day, despite these tough conditions. But how long before they start looking for teams with better facilities and more opportunities? We've already seen Jonquel Jones leave. Who's next? The Sun's success is impressive, but it's also a bit of a gamble. If things don't change soon, the forecast for the Sun won't be so bright. They're defying the odds right now, but in professional sports, you can only keep defying gravity for so long.
So the Sun are there with like the sparks and the sky. In the like category of the incompetent franchises, as far as like not incompetent franchises, but franchises that don't have anything for their players. You can't offer anything franchise-wise to the players, unfortunately. But now you've got that. Plus now you've got a situation where your team's not really going to be that competitive. It's not going to be a bad team, but it's not going to be this ultra competitive top 2 or 3 seed.
So, what's next for the Connecticut Sun? Can they keep pulling off these incredible wins? Or is their luck about to run out? One thing's for sure. The clock is ticking, and the pressure is mounting. The sun may be shining bright now, but storm clouds are starting to form on the horizon. If they don't make some major changes soon, they could be in the middle of a perfect storm. Jonquel Jones just dropped a bombshell on the team. She's demanding they either invest heavily or sell to someone who will. She's drawing a line in the sand, and her message is loud and clear. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Mohegan tribe, who owns the Sun, isn't budging. They're not planning to build a practice facility, and they won't even consider moving the team to nearby Boston.
I mean, like, the Sun have literally, it's like Mohegan Sun tribe have said they don't plan to build a practice facility. They don't plan on building a practice facility. And they have come out and said, people need to stop talking about a WNBA team in Boston. We basically, it's like, we're not going to allow that. We're not going to allow a team in Boston. And it's like, man, like, you're going to see it very, very soon. The WNBA organizations that are incompetent are going to be so far behind.
So, what's the Sun supposed to do? They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. We can't have a professional team practicing in a space where they might get kicked out for a birthday party. It's simply not sustainable.
To get more eyes on us and continue to raise the viewership and the dollars and everything else, like, these owners and these organizations that aren't willing to fully invest, they're going to either have to...
But here's the kicker. This isn't just about the Sun. We're seeing a growing divide in the WNBA. Some teams are investing big, building top-notch facilities, and pulling ahead quickly, while others, like the Sun, are trying to compete while practicing in what's essentially a public gym.
It's like, you're seeing it with the Mercury, how good their facilities are, how good the Valkyries is, how good the Aces, the Liberty, the Fevers is fine. Like, Fever don't have these unbelievable facilities, but they're fine.
Think about it. If you're a top college player entering the draft, do you want to end up with a team that has state-of-the-art facilities and big market opportunities, or one where you might have to cut practice short because someone else booked the court for Zumba? So, what's next for the Connecticut Sun? That's the million-dollar question. Will the Mohegan tribe finally open their eyes and invest, or will they stubbornly hold on until the Sun's competitiveness fades away?